Hello MennoNerds, it's Loewen, and the last thing you need is another white guy talking to you about diversity, so let's get to it. Clearly, I'm not in a position to talk about diversity on a broader scale, but I do want to talk about the diversity in which I grew up. I was the child of Mennonite immigrants from Mexico to southern Ontario in Canada. Many of my friends had similar experiences. And so we lived in a community where our cultural identity was tied very much to our recent experience of having immigrated to Canada, and also to our particular form of Anabaptist Christianity. And when we looked around our world, we saw three different types of people. We saw people who were normal, like we were. We saw people to the right of us who were too rigid with theology and too rigid with societal expectations and rules. And then we looked to the left and we saw people who were far too loose with theology and far too loose with lifestyle. And so we were content in the middle. And in a situation like that, the middle is a good place to be. You see, we could look to the left and we could look at their lifestyle and we could see that they didn't live with the same humility and simplicity and generosity that we did. And so whatever their belief system was, we could disregard it because of the fruit that it bore. And then we could look to the right of us. And we could see that even though perhaps they were more humble, even though they were more generous, even though they were more simple than we were, they did it out of a system of rules and expectations. So even though their behavior was good, we could dismiss the value of that because we knew that their belief system was off. Of course, our theology was good, our belief system was accurate. Now, I'm hoping that you hear the self-critique in my voice. But you can see what happens in the middle, is that we can disregard the value of the good works of our opponents because we already think their belief system is suspicious. And then we can disregard the belief system of some of our opponents because we know that their actions are also suspicious. So even though we didn't have a lot of diversity to begin with, we were already doing it wrong. What I've tried to do since then is to flip the situation entirely around. I readily admit that I have a lot to learn, both in terms of my understanding of the world and the way that I conduct my life. And so from time to time I look to the right and I see people who are doing a lot of good work. And even though they're doing it out of rules and regulations, I need to ask myself, can I be that good voluntarily? I probably should. And then I look to the other side and I find people who are asking the really hard questions. And then so I need to ask myself, is it responsible for me to know that these questions are there and also to not look for answers? I don't think so. So even though this environment might not bear the hallmarks of diversity, the challenge is the same. To look around on all sides and to ask, how can we learn from the people around us? How can we, by observing and walking with our neighbors, learn and grow from the challenges, from the opportunities that relationship presents us with? And in the end, we can all come out better and stronger as a result.